KGAB, where Cheyenne comes to talk.
8:10 is the time. It's AM 650 KGAB Radio. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me this morning. Haven't seen her in a while. Sitting over there in a hot seat is Amy Edmonds, formerly of... Well, we got a list here. We got to get that microphone a little bit closer down there. We go. We have a list here. So you have been, what was it, House of Representatives?
In the House.
In the House of Representatives. 6 years there. What was the district for that? I forget.
House District 12.
12. Okay. So from House District 12, and tell me if I'm missing anything, Wyoming Liberty Group. You were a campaign manager for one of our gubernatorial candidates for a while.
I was communications director.
Communications? I thought you were the manager of the campaign. Well, they put you in the wrong position.
Yeah.
And didn't you work for one of our representatives in
Congressman
D.C.?
Cheney.
Okay.
Congressman Cheney.
Well, you've been all over the place now.
I have.
Yeah, okay. And so every time Amy says to me, I'm out, I'm not active anymore, I'm just sort of done, I'm burnt out, you just get dragged right back in.
I do.
Yeah. So then you end up being a communications person.
What's wrong with me, Glenn?
No, I don't know. We have to have this conversation, but at least the trip to Europe that you're going to take might cure it.
Yes.
We'll see. Now,
yes.
In the meantime, though, I noticed you have a couple of articles that pop up in our local paper.
Yes.
And I thought, well, okay, then, I have to have you in because I've always admired your writing style. You're a very good writer. If we want people to actually hear what you have to say, then you got to come on this show because who's reading the newspaper anymore, right? Okay, so, but you will have.
I hope they're reading it.
I hope so.
They're reading
it. They were
Glenn.
good. They were really good. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one real quick was after, just to touch on it, was right after the primaries.
Yes.
And you had some complaints about jumping parties.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, my main thesis is that the Democrat Party in Wyoming is dead.
Yeah.
If this is their only way to get involved is to take crumbs off the Republican plate,
right.
They're dead.
Okay, so that's and I was saying a similar thing where if they rather than jumping parties and meddling in Republican affairs, why not get some good candidates? Yeah,
well, but I think and I expounded on this. Not just that they're dead, but really their ideas are so out of touch with mainstream Wyoming families and workers that, this is what they have to do because they really are profoundly out of touch.
Well, couldn't we even say then that Governor Friedenthal, you and I suppose both talked to him, he would, I would say, would be a Wyoming Democrat in the sense that if he even said if he went to someplace like Massachusetts, well, there's no way he could be in the Democrat Party. He'd have to be a Republican there. So if the Democrats were running people like that, they might actually have a chance.
Well, exactly, but they're not. I mean, their candidate Mary Throne is not in any way, shape, or form a Dave Friedenthal.
Right. Okay.
So
with that in mind, the recent article that you just wrote had to do with transparency in the state of Wyoming.
Yeah.
Okay. And it really shouldn't be all that difficult to be transparent, I would think. No. And was that the gist of the article? How hard is this?
Yes, exactly. The gist was that if you understand as a steward of public funds that one of your responsibilities is to be transparent with how you use those funds, it isn't going to be hard. Mm-hmm. The only reason that it is hard is that you want it to be hard. And that's the basic. And it was really, I was spurred on by a great piece that the Tribune-Eagle had earlier in the week about Laramie County School District Number 1 and the fact that they would not release their credit card statements.
Right.
Well, they would, but they would only do it for a pretty substantial fee, saying how difficult it would be. Now, I mean, you and I get credit card statements.
We've heard this one, and we've heard this one from the state auditor's office,
That's
the same exact excuse, how hard it would be. Okay, so you think it should be easy. Why then? Can't they just print it, or how's that work?
Yeah, I think it's hard because they don't do it as a practice. I mean, I think they probably just keep paper copies. That's what they've said. We have it in apparently 3 4-drawer filing cabinets contains 1 year of credit card statements for Laramie County School District Number 1, which is a little mind-blowing. So I think, that's more difficult because it's not a practice for them. And my point is that transparency should be a practice of every public steward of public funds. It should just be a practice.
Do you think then, and I'm asking you to guess and theorize, I know, but if they're not being that forthcoming, is there something that they're hiding?
Well, I mean, and I used Natrona County School District Number 1, or Natrona County School District. They recently, a couple months ago, I think, did release their credit card statements. And it was embarrassing, Glenn. Yeah. I mean, it was embarrassing for them because there were things like Dollywood in Tennessee and the St. Louis, Hall of Fame. Just stuff that people would go, what? Particularly in the span of those credit card statements, the district itself was actually closing closing schools to try to keep up with legislative education cuts. But at the same time, they were spending $10 million on their credit cards for things that I think people would wonder about.
You're going to have to explain the Dollywood one. How does that come in there?
You know, I think it was a conference. Okay. I believe that after this happened, according to the Forbes, so Forbes magazine, the gentleman from Open the Books who did get because this is the group that's come into the state of Wyoming. It's a national group saying, hey, Wyoming is horrible at transparency, and they've started to try to get things more transparent. He wrote a piece for Forbes, and in there he said that after they released, apparently the district did have a press conference where they said, you know, we're sorry, essentially, and tried to provide a little further explanation. Now, I've heard recently that maybe those explanations weren't as detailed as they could be, but I'm just going off of the Forbes piece, and they tried to explain. And I believe some of those things, because I know there was like the Venetian Plaza in Las Vegas. That was a conference. It's like a $1,500 a night. I mean, it's an expensive hotel. Really? I don't know if they were in the most expensive rooms, but
$1,500 a night for how many people?
Well, I don't have the details, Glenn, but I know that they stayed at the Venetian, which is a very expensive hotel, and that there was a conference there. But again, you know, the optics of this is just really bad, given that the district at the same time was closing several schools, so parents' children had to be bused to a different location, perhaps further away. And yet, so yes, transparency can be difficult at first. And I think for Natrona County, it has been. I think they're still not as transparent. And I've heard from folks who say they're nowhere near as transparent as they could be. But I at least give them kudos for taking the first baby steps.
Sure. Well, and those first baby steps can be really embarrassing, but if that leads them in the future toward better behavior, I understand. Every part of your story reminds me of some years ago, the post office. This is like probably a decade ago. They had the head of the post office in Las Vegas on some conference, and he was in the priciest possible room in the hotel, sitting in a jacuzzi with a glass of champagne. And that just
a good gig.
Doesn't look good. Let's grab your headphones there. Because, of course, if Amy's on, she's getting a phone call. This is Glenn. Who's on with us?
Yes, good morning, Glenn. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning.
I so enjoy your editorials. You write very well, and you just bring the point right to the forefront. I just have a comment. Why are the conferences, why do they have to go to Las Vegas to have a conference? Why don't they have them right here and boost the local economy?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just a comment. And, you know, more voters need to get involved in this kind of thing to see that this kind of thing is not happening. And thank you so much for bringing that to the attention of people here in Cheyenne.
You bet.
I appreciate it. And here's another thought on that with the conferences. I understand that sometimes at conferences that part of it is mingling and talking with people even after some of the seminars and so on. There's a lot that's going on there. But there's also a lot of other conferences. We have this newfangled thing all the kids are talking about. It's called the Internet. And just a good friend of ours, Maureen Bader, she's up in Canada.
Yes.
She and I talk all the time. We just pick up our phones, and there's a video there, and we're chatting.
That's amazing,
Glenn.
You
can do that with an audience, and it doesn't really cost anything anymore to go ahead and do that. So if they want to have conferences, we do that here at Town Square Media. We'll go into our conference room over there. We turn on this television. Town Square Media is nationwide with radio stations all over the country, and we all get together instead of us all flying to one city. So just tossing that out there. Maybe I'm crazy.
Well, absolutely. And, you know, one of the things I think Natrona County responded and said after this came out was, listen, we're going to look at our, you know, rules and regulations about how we spend. Because really, I mean, I agree with the caller. There's no reason to be flying across the country to conferences, particularly when you're in the middle of cuts to education.
Sure.
You know, putting a moratorium on these national conferences and flying all over is probably a good idea.
But Amy, it's the taxpayers' money.
Yeah, it's endless. That's what they say. And that was sort of the summation of my column was that, listen, transparency breeds trust. And trust is the most important thing between us and our government. And if they're going to, particularly in education, where they're going to be asking for more money, Glenn.
Sure.
They're going to, I mean, they've been doing it forever, and more money means more taxes. Why in the world should any of us pay that or accept that?
That's a great point. We'll pick it up next. AM 650 KGAB.
Hey, this is Rosie Harvey, your local online marketing consultant from Town Square Interactive. Do you own a small business and want to have more results with your website? Or maybe you just need a website? You're good at what you do. You don't have to be good at digital marketing, too. Leave that to me in Town Square Interactive, and we'll make sure your business has the online presence it deserves. With month-to-month contracts, personalized marketing packages, single points of contact, you don't have any 800 numbers to deal with or automated answering systems when you choose Town Square Interactive for your digital marketing campaign. If you don't have time to advertise your business by yourself, rely on us at Town Square Interactive to make sure your ideal customers can find you online. We'll even take the guesswork out of determining the ROI by sending you monthly reports and giving you a live dashboard login. Town Square Interactive will give your business the visibility it deserves. Call me, Rosie Harvey, at 287-0240 to learn more about how I can help you market your small business. Again, that's 287-0240. Or you can look me up online at townsquareinteractive.com/shop.
Ballet Wyoming and Denver's Cleo Parker Robinson Dance take the stage for a one-night performance you don't want to miss. Friday, September 14th at the Cheyenne Civic Center. Cleo Parker Robinson Dance has toured 30 countries and performed in front of over 2 million people across the U.S. Tickets are on sale now at balletwyoming.com. Don't miss the dance performance of the year at the Cheyenne Civic Center, Friday, September 14th. Get your tickets today at balletwyoming.com.
Join Town Square Media for another Thankful Thursday at AmVets Post 10, 3839 East Lincoln Way. This week's Party with a Purpose will raise money for Laramie County Senior Services, encouraging physical enhancement and social belonging while providing balanced meals for seniors in Laramie County. This great evening includes food, live auction, games, prizes. You could win money just for showing up. The party starts at 4:30. Make plans to join us this Thankful Thursday to help support our community, one charity at a time.
No radio at the office? Don't do without. Listen at KGAB.com or on your mobile with Radio Pub, free on the App Store or Google Play.
8:21's the time, 61 degrees. Amy Edmonds here in the studio with me. It's AM 650 KGAB Radio. There was a caller on hold. You didn't make it through the break. Now's a good time to call back. 632-6500 is the phone number, or 888-503-6500. We're talking about government transparency, state of Wyoming.
Yeah.
And you brought up a good point that it brings trust. If they're transparent, then it brings trust. And I understand that some of our school districts and other agencies in the government might look at what's on those credit cards and go, ooh, that's going to be embarrassing. And my thought is, so get it over with.
Right. It's like a Band-Aid.
Get it over with. Not only does it breed trust, but I would also think that it would breed honesty, because when someone's about to use that credit card, they'll stop and think, how is this going to look for me, my agency?
Yeah.
We could get in trouble here.
Right. In 30 days, this is going to be online and available to the public with 2 clicks of a mouse. And that's what I think is so important, is that, making it transparent and making it accessible so that people can see, because there is a trust factor. And this is, having worked on a gubernatorial campaign these last couple of months through the summer, this is something all of them were talking about, which is, why in the world should we be going to tax increases immediately when we don't really know how we're spending the money we already have. You need that trust factor to go, you know what, they're spending exactly as they need to, and they do need more.
Now, this might want to see, Kevin on Facebook, Natronas County Schools paid for scuba diving lessons at Wyoming Diving. Hundreds of thousands in iTunes purchases, hundreds of thousands in AMA, and so on it goes. Okay.
Right.
There's... I wonder, now again, I'm going by what other people are saying. I don't have any proof of this, just so you know. But there have been people who've turned and said, look, there's a good old boy network out there. And the good old boys who have been spending this money all this time don't want anyone else to know about it. And so that's part of the reason that you might find some of our agencies who might have been forthcoming won't be, because
dragging their feet. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, they're getting phone calls. They're getting visits. Grab your headphones again. Got another caller on the line. This is Glenn, who's on with us.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment.
Okay.
I just want to say, Amy, I've always appreciated the work you've done and the fight you've put forth, in the cause of conservative beliefs. I will say I didn't know that you were affiliated with Lynn Cheney. That sounded right at the intro. I heard that.
Liz.
I'll be honest with you, I'm super disappointed about that. I think she's a carpetbagger, shouldn't be here. But that's my point. Just to get to it specifically. When we're talking about the issues we see, like with the schools and with our government not being transparent, the problem, unfortunately, is that we continue to elect people like Mark Gordon, these closet liberals, and really the best we can hope for at this point is that we're going to have the status quo, because he's no different than Matt Mead. We knew what Matt Mead did. I mean, you were obviously very involved with Senate Bill 104, trying to take away the voice of the people, and they continue to grow government. And when government gets bigger, there's no oversight. And when we elect people like Mark Gordon and Lynn Cheney and the whole, obviously she's at a different level, but when we continue to put people like that in office, there's no hope for change. And I'll be honest with you, for the first time in my life, I'm probably going to sit this one out, because, I mean, really, the best we can hope for is another Matt Mead. That's just not.
So you don't think you're going to?
Disheartening.
You're not going to vote in this next election? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I don't know that I mean, at this point, it's the same thing over and over and over, and the people of Wyoming continue to get caught up in that he's riding a horse and he's got a cowboy hat on, so all of a sudden he's a cowboy conservative. Like, really? That's, you know, if you look at his record, if you look at Lynn Cheney's record, all these people we continue to put in office are not conservatives, and we have it even at our local level with our county commissioners and I guess that's what's happening across the country is they continue to creep in from the East Coast and the West Coast. And then we're stuck with these people like Mark Gordon, who he gets a great ad on a horse, and he wears a cowboy hat, and we all think he's conservative. And you look at his record, he's not. Yeah. And then we hope that we're going to have change and transparency in our government. It's just not going to happen.
Okay, so response?
Well, I mean, I think it's, I don't disagree with him in terms of if you look good on a horse with a cowboy hat, you get elected in Wyoming. That's unfortunate, but I think it's very true. The mystique of the West. We don't look deep enough into who our politicians are and exactly what they stand for. Yeah, I would definitely agree with him on that one.
Okay, so now we've talked about the problem. So what's the solution then? Because in this sense, the caller's right that we have the same people over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then there's nothing that's going to change. So what do we do to affect the change to get the transparency?
Well, more involvement. I mean, citizens really have to be more involved and understand what's going on. Because we are coming, I mean, I think you know, Glenn, we are coming upon some really critical times with the budget deficits the legislature's facing. There is the huge potential for real tax increases, real ones that will affect you and I. We will feel it in our pocketbooks.
Don't even do a state income tax. I'll go crazy.
We will know that it's happened.
Let me squeeze in one more call. This is Glenn, who's on the phone with us.
Good morning, Glenn. This is Fred.
Yes, sir.
We have two things working against us. We're apathetic, and we have a short attention span. Everybody wants